Namaste, people. So coming to the introduction of this person here, the great Karthik Prakash Iyer. Kai, yeah, that's what he claims to be, like, own your story and be yourself.
Yeah, I'm not great yet. That's not what I claim.
Okay.
But what I do claim is that, yes, own your story.
Good. Yes.
Yeah.
So he has been in international cricket for 12 years. He's been he was playing for South African club and then came back to India to pursue yoga. Of course, we have two podcasts earlier about your story as to how the transformation happened from cricket to where you are today. I mean, to say yoga. So coming to your own personality, well, I haven't seen another guy talking about own your story, literally like how you do. Yes, to be as you are, not to fake it, not to be so respectfully, obliged to society, obliged to what people think, what friends think. So, for a person who's starting new on social media, how would you kind of advise the person, or what would you exactly say before the process begin of establishing themselves?
Self-awareness is the key.
Mm.
As long as they know what they're doing, as long as people understand the consequences of their words, their content on social media, it's fine. But they have to understand whatever they post is going to have consequences. Whether it's negative, positive, or neutral, depends on the post and also on the social setting and whatnot, and the community setting. But the first step is always self-awareness. What are you posting? Why are you posting it? Are you content and resonating with what you're posting? And is it directly attacking a person or a group or the law or the nation? Is it directly attacking anything? That will have severe consequences.
Okay. What I'm trying to ask you is, where do you draw the line as to this is okay with me and this is not okay? Maybe I'm risking it. So how do you categorize that?
Personally, where I would draw the line is, I don't like attacking groups of people, group, basically like any group for that matter, or especially any nation for that matter, directly attacking any nation, any entity for that matter, any organization, unless it's necessary. Unless a group really requires me to shout out against them, I wouldn't really bother with it. So where I would draw the line is it necessary to comment something about someone or something else or not? If it's necessary, okay, is it justifiable?
Okay.
Like, for example, nowadays, many of us are into this thing called social activism.
True.
And we all have our own group, and we all fight against other groups.
True.
So, for example, socialism versus capitalism. So, in that process, is it necessary to attack the other party? If it's necessary, is it justifiable? Or is there another way to do it? So that's where I draw the line. Unnecessarily attacking people, I don't know, like I have been there when I was younger, always used to fight on social media and whatnot, go to the comments battle. But now as I grow older, I realize it's not worth it, unless it's necessary and you bring in facts to the table and the facts are provocative, then you can't help it. If facts are provocative, you can't help it.
True.
But if you're personally attacking someone out of an emotional grudge, then doesn't make sense. So that's where I draw the line.
Sure. Now coming back to the posts, what we post. Sometimes, people are very judgmental about what we post, as to they don't resonate with it. And maybe some people just want to put you down for whatever you're doing. So I have seen you being rock solid. Sometimes you know what you're doing. It doesn't affect you. Yeah, I mean, that's actually commendable, because even if there is no appreciation from the people you're expecting, maybe the likes or the comments or whatever you're expecting, it's not happening. But still you keep that thing going on social media. You put efforts, for a lot of efforts into getting that point out. So how do you keep your mindset or attitude as to, yes, I have to keep going. It doesn't affect me anymore.
Two things. Firstly, if I don't express out my creativity, I
Mm-hmm.
feel that I'm not doing enough justice to the life I'm living.
Mm-hmm.
So, and social media is one of the best platforms to express out your creativity,
True. Mm-hmm.
So, because there is a good platform available in the
Mm-hmm.
form of Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and so on,
Yeah.
might as well utilize it. Might as well
Mm-hmm.
utilize those opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
That's first thing. And second thing is, I would like to point out what Gary Vee told. Like it doesn't have to impact 1 million people. Like 1 million likes,
True.
it doesn't have to be that.
Yes.
Somewhere, someone would read that content
Mm-hmm.
or would go through that content, and it would be their life-changing post.
Yes.
That one person.
Mm.
We don't know who that one person is. It might be
Correct.
someone 10 years down the line who might randomly come across,
True.
you know.
Yes.
So, and for that reason, that's what keeps me motivated to
Mm-hmm.
keep going uh, despite the appreciation that I get, which is not up to the expectations I
Mm.
have.
True.
So
Yeah.
I know that somewhere somebody will benefit from it. And for
Yes.
that reason, keep going.
Good. Also, coming back to your humble background, you also have, you know, I mean to say, I can say advised me in a way not to go head on with the investments, maybe in a studio, maybe, exorbitantly spending on social media and putting up whatever best you can. So, how important it is for people to realize that, yes, this is my space and I need to do what I can do instead of investing at this point of time.
There needs to be a good balance between going for resources
Mhm.
and making yourself resourceful.
Mm.
Most of the people make the mistake of only seeking out resources,
Exactly.
and others they compromise seeking out resources because they want to be only resourceful with whatever they have.
True.
So strike that balance
Mm-hmm.
while going out for the necessary resources.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you're capable enough of utilizing those resources in the most effective manner.
Mm-hmm.
So either extremes isn't wise. So
Mm.
find that balance. You know.
Yes. Well said. I mean, in this process, I think I have learned a lot of editing. I've I've
Mm.
started, wearing the hat of creativity. Well, I wasn't so
100%.
confident, but yes, this journey has taught me that, we can be
You
as
can be
unique as we are. Yeah.
100%.
Thank you for that.
I'm honored. And
Mm.
also, I just want to clear out something here.
Mhm.
I wasn't an international player for 12 years. I
Okay.
was an international club cricketer for 2 years.
Okay.
So yes, my total thing was 12 years. So
Mm-hmm.
from fifth grade all the way till I was 21 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was 18, 19, 20, that's when I went to Cape Town, South Africa to play for a club there called Western Province Cricket Club.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I was a first division player in Karnataka.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, God's grace and a lot of things happened. And I happened to get into the Gary Carson High Performance Cricket Academy.
Mm-hmm.
That's
That's
where
an
things really.
achievement by itself.
Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, you know, apart from me, all the forces at play were.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I put in my dedicated effort and sacrifice, but more than my effort and sacrifice, it's my parents and
Mm-hmm.
all the other people, the well-wishers
True.
involved in my journey.
Mm-hmm.
No, 1% of credit goes to me, 99% goes to everyone.
You're
So that's
being
how I
so
perceive
generous today and very humble in your approach today,
it.
unlike
That's how
you.
I see it
Mm-hmm.
because I consider myself as having failed in the cricket field.
Mm-hmm.
12 years of dedicated effort, and not only me, my family as well. And
Mm-hmm.
all I reached when I was 21 was playing club cricket level.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, in sports, usually you have to make it big around 21.
True.
That's the ideal thing. If you
Yeah.
don't make it big by the time you're 21, then
Mm-hmm.
you'll have to start looking for second options because, you have to be more practical by
Mm-hmm.
then.
Do you regret
So I took
not taking it up?
do I regret not taking up what?
Cricket a little more seriously? What if you get
No,
another
I took
other
it very serious.
chance to get back to your phase of 16 to 21 years?
Mhm.
Would you do anything differently?
Yes. What I would do differently is,
Mhm.
see, the things I learned, I wish I learned it when I was still 16. I learned,
Mhm.
I in retrospect,
Mhm.
I learned it after, coming out of that field.
Mhm.
And the best things I learned was more than your performance on field.
Mhm.
It's about what value you add to the team and how valuable are you as a team player.
Mhm.
And that totally is dependent on how your social skills are, what kind of rapport you develop, how effective are you in communication and connection, and how well are you adding value to other team members, whether they add value back to you or not.
Mhm. True.
So all those factors that are important in today's uh, life,
Mhm.
I realized all of that only after quitting cricket.
Can you be a
When I
little
was in
more
cricket,
concrete when you say you would do things differently? Maybe can you give me specifics
yes,
as to what different would you have done?
I would have interacted more with the team players
Okay.
and the coach, as well
Mm.
as added in more input, as
Mm.
well as cracked more jokes,
Mm. Yeah.
suggested more ideas.
Mm.
The person you see today, like me personally, so you see
Yes.
me entirely different. I was a different person when I was 16, 17, 18.
Mm.
Totally different. And I used to be all by myself. Just
Mm.
used to maintain enough socializing to get things going, but not more than that. I thought
Mm.
only performance mattered on the
Mm.
field and good stats mattered. I didn't realize that what value I was adding to the table behind the scenes.
Mm.
So all of that, what you see me today, like you today see me going after people, giving them ideas for free,
I know.
counseling them if necessary, so on and so
Yes.
forth.
Yes.
I wish I could have done that when I was still in cricket.
Mm.
Whether I would have made
Mm.
it big or not, it definitely would have created a different level of impact
Mm.
back. But I'm glad that things unfolded how it should have. I mean,
Mm.
how it has, and I learned my mistake.
Mm. Good. Glad to hear that. Also, you said it was a failure for you in cricket. So, the transformation of the failure into what you are doing today, into spirituality and yoga, how was the transition?
It was tough,
Mm.
because uh, well, in my place where I live, almost 90% of the people used to watch me practice every day before I went to Cape Town. Like
Mm.
every day, so many people used to watch me practice day in, day out,
Mm.
and they've seen me work hard. And almost everyone assumed that I'm going to be an IPL or something one day.
Mm.
So when I went to Cape Town, people thought, okay, he's going for it, he's flying.
Mm.
And then when I came back and I said I'm now into spirituality, and the
Yeah,
con- the concept here is that people enter spirituality when they're fed up with life and they're above 60. You know,
exactly. Yeah.
so they're like, "What's wrong with you? Why are you going for spirituality
Mm.
now? You're young. How should you be? Why are you giving up?" And to explain to them, okay, why did I quit and why did I change my
Mm.
path? It was such a tough task because people easily think, oh, you just quit.
Mm.
So,
True.
and 12 years of hard work, all for what? Ha ha ha. So it's hard to digest that in the
Mm.
initial stage
True.
and facing all of those expectations again. But eventually you'll realize, what, everything happened for a reason.
True. That's so true.
So that's that, you know.
Mm. Yeah.
So yeah. So
Suppose
initially it was tough.
if a boy who's 8 year old or maybe 6 year old
Mm.
approaches you and asks you, I have a big dream, sir. I want to be an international cricketer one day. This is my dream of my life. So, what would you say to that young 6 year old boy?
Go for it.
Okay.
Go for it.
And
See, here's the cost.
mm,
Here's the investments you're supposed to make. Here's
mm,
the sacrifices you're supposed to do. Here's
mm,
the compromises that's involved.
Come on, I'm talking about a boy who's 6 years old.
Yeah.
We can't
You
talk
have
about investments and consequences
we
and
can slowly tell him the idea by telling, are you ready to wake up at 4 a.m. every day? A 6-year-old boy will understand that much because he will like his sleep, he will like those chocolates.
Of course, he's ready to
I'll,
do everything. He's ready to do everything. Anything else you would want to tell him?
I would tell him, yes, go for your dreams, but also ensure in the process, not only do you aim to become the best cricketer in the world, but aim to be the best human you can. Because if the first priority happens or may not happen, the second priority will definitely act as the foundation for him.
Correct.
To survive and thrive in life. So I would definitely say go for it. I wouldn't stop him. Then when he is around maybe 12, 13, then we will slowly start assessing, see how things are going.
Correct.
And what I wouldn't like to do is definitely give him a false hope. Oh, work hard and go after your dream.
Yes.
No, like there's so much more practical and different factors involved. So as per his age and understanding, push him in the direction, let him go for his dreams, but also let him be practical enough so that he gains maturity in the process, and not just is disillusioned by something.
True. Okay, when you say big dreams, is it very important to dream at any stage, at any point of life, to rewind, to relearn, to learn, and to focus on your dream?
100%. It's good to dream big. It's good to set a very high standard. Like you're looking at the peak of Mount Everest. And okay, once you have a vague idea of what your dream is, now the process starts. But without a dream, I don't think you're going to expand yourself or evolve yourself. Dreams are important. Do you think dreams are important?
Of course, I do. I am a dreamer, 100%.
Good.
Yeah. Coming back to the books we read recently, I'm really inspired by Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Yeah. I do realize the fact that, yes, it's not about how much money you make, it's how much money you keep and what assets are, what liabilities are. What are your 3 important takeaways from Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
First takeaway is that rather than saying I can't do it, changing that into asking how can I do it? The biggest takeaway. The second takeaway for me was when the spoiler warning for those of you who have not read the book yet. Anyways, the second biggest takeaway for me is that when he started talking about assets generate income, liabilities decrease the income.
True.
So I started parallelly contemplating about it, all the material things that the book says versus the spiritual nature of how we are. And then I was like, wait a minute, our thoughts are our assets. Is it generating us growth or has it become a liability?
True.
So many parallels like that were found in the book, such as, do you want to be an employee or do you want to be an owner? How are you operating your life? Not just how are you operating your career, but how are you operating your life?
I did like the line where it says the rich don't work for money, they make money work for them. That was like a statement. I mean, it hits like you on the face.
The same can be applied from a Advaita Vedanta perspective. The wise man doesn't live. Life lives through him. There's a lot of difference between you living life and life expressing through you.
Correct. Yes.
So that's one of like I was reading that book and I was tripping because I could parallelly see the spiritual side of the materialistic ideas being given in there. I was like, wait a minute, materialism and mysticism aren't that different. okay, materialism, physical objects are involved. Spirituality, subjective, mystical objects are involved. But then again, the same patterns are being applied. The same formulas are being applied.
True.
Holy damn, no?
True. Yes.
And
Coming
the
back.
third biggest, the
Yes.
third biggest takeaway. Okay, so the third biggest takeaway is when I liked the story that unfolded in the first half of the book.
The little boy
As it,
and Mike and
yeah, he and Mike and all the
the
silly but
ideas.
innocent, the ideas and the silly innocent questions they ask. But we would also have the same questions when we start reading them.
I know.
And
So true.
the way the guy trained them, directed their life, it's good. You can read a
Yeah.
lot from
Yeah,
that
I've
little
read a
story.
lot of management books, read a lot of costing books, business administration books, but I think this book there's something special about it. If you read it and resonate it with, then definitely it's an eye opener, I would say. Any
Is
other
it better than
books?
is it
So,
better than the book written by Steve Jobs?
no way. Can't be compared. He is like the ultimate. Yes. Okay.
Any other book?
Books which you would definitely recommend to people who are really want to kind of hit the next gear in their life.
Yes, Lead with No Title.
Okay.
It's by Robin Sharma. And many people misunderstand their value versus the value the title offers them, or the position offers them.
True.
And this book gives a lot of clarity to that.
Yeah. How important
Most
it
people,
is for us as people in yoga and spirituality to keep ourselves open to ideas, not to just shut our minds as to telling that yes, this is the formula to reach the divine. This is it. I am not open to any other ideas. I know that certain people who believe that they are not open to any ideas apart from what they believe in. What difference does it make
unfortunately
to?
see that.
Yes.
See, why I was in, like, I agree with you when you say it. I agree with that. Yes, we need to be open to ideas. Why I agree with that is what's happening to the fitness and yoga industry today and the diet industry today is exactly what happened when Bruce Lee first came out with his Jeet Kune Do. He was the pioneer of mixed martial arts back then.
True.
And many people were like, that mixing things won't work, and they used to be like, karate is the best, or,
Jiu-jitsu or
taekwondo is the
whatever,
best,
taekwondo.
jiu-jitsu is the best.
Yeah.
And I think Bruce Lee only ever gave one video interview, 7 minutes of it, and he completely nailed down the essence of what it means to be a human in that 7 minutes. So in that he says, style separates man. Life is a process of continuous growth. It's
True.
not about whether karate is good or any other it's about how much have you learned, how well are you utilizing it, and end of the day, are you the best fighter or not? Doesn't matter if you know karate or if you know wing chun, whether you can defeat the opponent or not. Now
Correct.
let us apply that to yoga. Firstly, I would like to, I don't get tired of repeating this again and again. We do yogic practices and we be in yoga. There is a difference. We do yogic practices to get into the flow state or the union with our highest divinity.
Correct.
We can't do highest divinity, right?
Okay. So you're saying that we are into yoga, we are doing yogic practices, but we're not a yogi. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that as well, I'll come back to that. What I'm
Okay.
saying is, it's like saying I do gym. No, you go to a gym to do workout.
Okay.
Now you do certain structured yogic practices to achieve yoga. Yoga means union. Yoga means, in modern terms, flow state. You don't do a flow state, you are in a flow state. You be in a flow state. Just like you don't do concentration, you are in concentration.
But how can it be two different things when you say you are in a flow state, but you are not you? I mean to say there is a union that's happening, right? So it can't separate.
Are you doing Smita or are you being Smita?
Of course, I am being.
Can you do Smita?
No.
You can just be Smita. Smita unfolds. Isn't it so? Smita unfolds the more you do actions, thoughts, words, and you do expression. When you do expressions, you be yours, right? In the same way, when you do certain practices in a proper format, you be in more and more of a flow state, right? It's like, most of the well-learned sages, it's like this. You don't do meditation. You do meditative practices to be in a meditative state. In meditation. You don't do dhyana. You are in a dhyana. So the best example I can give you is when we are doing something we like. When we are doing something we like, we are in the zone, enjoying the moment, enjoying the process, enjoying how we are expressing and interacting with that experience.
True.
We are being in yoga right then and there. By doing it with the most intensity possible.
I understand.
So that's the difference. And the second thing is, yes.
The second thing is you don't necessarily have to be a yogi to do yoga. That's what you're trying to say.
No. What I'm saying is, just because you do a certain structured practices, it doesn't make you a yogi.
I get it.
Helps you become a better person, helps you, go towards being a yogi, but it doesn't make you a yogi. Right? Why I say this is because there are four paths of yoga in general.
Yes.
Bhakti yoga, the path of faith. They don't practice asana, they don't practice pranayama. They're only practicing chanting.
Yeah.
Devotion. Then there is karma yoga. No chanting, no asana, just selfless service.
Yes.
For example, soldiers, so on and so forth.
Doctors.
Yes. Now there is Gnana yoga. I think it was Smaranam or Shravanam. I always get confused with the first. Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam.
Yes.
No asanas, no bhakti, nothing. Logically, practically, how to reach yogic flow state, let us study, let us implement. Right? Then there is Raja Yoga, where you practice asanas, pranayama, so on and so forth.
Yes.
So if I am a Gnana yogi, and you come to me and you tell me, only if you practice asanas you're a yogi, I'm going to give you a tight slap. Isn't it so? Or if I'm a Gnana yogi and I go to a proper bhakt, whatever religion it is, whatever deity they're showing their devotion to, and I tell them, unless you study everything and you practice your asanas, you're not a true yogi, they are going to kick me.
Seriously. Like, for example, Mirabai.
Exactly. Right? They reached height of consciousness.
Oh my God, yes.
Most of us try to force ourselves into. And there's so much misconception that yoga is all about flowing in the moment, or it's all
Asanas,
about
advanced asanas. Only if you can do headstand, handstand, you are, a proper yogi and
or
meditation.
only if you're a vegan, only if you're a vegan who's up at 4 a.m. in the morning.
But of course, it does make a difference if you it does make a difference if you eat only vegetarian and you get up early in the morning, 3:30 a.m. to practice pranayama in the Brahma Muhurta.
All of those practices and habits add to the main essence.
Correct.
But if there is no main essence, what's the use of doing all these practices?
Correct.
The essence is important. See, the essence, I'll give you 4 different examples now. For Bhakti Yoga, there was Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, right? For Raja Yoga, I can definitely say Bruce Lee is a good example, because asana pranayama, of course, what is asana pranayama? It's not breath work and physical movement.
Correct.
Right? Conscious physical movement. There's Bruce Lee. Jnana Yoga, I can say Shankaracharya or even Swami Vivekananda.
Yes.
Right? And Karma Yoga.
Karma Yoga.
Let's think someone who's doing selfless acts of service.
Mother
Gary
Teresa.
Gary
What?
Yeah.
Gary V.
Gary V. Yeah.
Is a Karma Yogi? That's
you can say so, because
twist.
if you look at his Tea with Gary V, and he is the #1 media, consultant, right?
True.
As a brand.
Yeah.
Why would he want to spend time with ordinary people, giving them consultations online?
True. So for people who don't know about Gary V, introduce Gary V in
introduce Gary V later. So there are 4 of these paths, right? And I gave 4 examples. They are maintaining the essence there. What is the essence? The essence is that you are cherishing life. You are realizing the value of life, and because you are realizing the value of life, you are constantly evolving yourself to add more value to the entire experience.
Correct.
And to the external world, friends, family, world, so on and so forth. That's the essence. The essence is that end of the day, your experience has to be so rich, so intense, right? So intense and rich that finally you will evolve to a phase where you're ascending your own limitation and enlightening yourself of limitation. If you look at it that way, there's so many people who have not practiced asana, pranayama, not even studied great scriptures.
True.
Not even, so end of the day, the essence was there.
Exactly. Yes, that's true.
And if that essence is not there, then you, no matter how good of a mask you put on, how good of a game you put on to show people how yogic you are, people are going to smell that shit. People are going to smell bullshit when they smell bullshit.
Correct.
So at the end of the day, it's not going
to. Yes, coming to
yoga starts with self-awareness. It's all about self-awareness. That is true yoga. Self-awareness is okay. If you are eating meat, are you aware why, what, how, when, and where you are supposed to eat and doing like eating meat? So
true.
If you are lying, are you aware that you are lying? If you are being sarcastic, are you aware that you are being sarcastic? Or if you are waking up at 7 a.m. in the morning, do you have a good reason for that? Self-awareness is the key. And the second part of yoga is the first 2 steps, yamas and niyamas. When your yamas and niyamas are aligned, half of the work is done. But it's the most difficult thing to do. Living your life honestly is the most difficult thing. And people skip that. Most of us skip that, including me. Most of us, whatever degree, skip that. We are not ready to face our own shortcomings.
I think we have had a lot of conversations and arguments coming to this factor of you being yourself and me asking you not to, show everything, whatever your attitude is on public meeting. So,
but at the end of the day, like you asked in the earlier questions, where do you draw the line? So of course, lines have to be drawn. Of course, respect has to be given. But beyond a certain level, you're only compromising your own ability to express.
True. So coming back to whomever you admire and adore, the Gary V. Yeah. Introduce Gary V to a person who is new and How do you kind of resonate with Gary Vee so much?
Introducing Gary Vee. He is basically in the wine business, wine industry. He's a successful wine entrepreneur, as well as he is one of the most successful media management brands out there, as well as one of the biggest influencers in the world right now, and author of 2 best-selling books. Why I admire him is because he's simple, he's raw, he's brutal about who he is, what he does. No sugarcoating, no holding back because there are other people's opinions involved.
Yes.
He's just him. True, raw, brutal person out there who is doing his thing, and whenever he needs to help, somebody needs help, he's out there approaching them, and me looking at it, me being quote unquote a spiritual guy, a yogic guy, whatever, right? Me looking at him, who is 100% materialistic in nature, but out there impacting the lives of so many people
Yes.
selflessly, honestly, and accepting his shortcomings honestly, that's inspiring. How many of us put up a mask just to please people?
True.
And how many of us hold back helping others because we do want something in next thing, right? But here's a guy who is not spiritual at all, but he's actually living a very rich spiritual life.
That's why you termed him as a karma yogi.
Yeah. Even Tony Robbins, for example, Les Brown, for example, so many people. Muhammad Ali, Bruce Lee. Of course, Bruce Lee studied Taoism and whatnot, but so many people out there who never really invested the time in being spiritual, but they somehow are living the essence of it properly.
Yeah.
And that inspires.
Good. What would you want? I mean to say, if I ask you, what would you want to leave the world with, your legacy? What would that be?
A lot of things, to be honest. But if not anything, I would leave
the core of what you want your legacy to be.
Pride. It's high time we brought back pride.
Don't give me very vague answers as pride and humanity and words.
Okay, what? Okay, you want me to be specific?
Yes.
I guess leadership. Is that more specific? Leadership.
Okay. Yeah.
I would say leadership.
Okay. Leadership in what sense? With a pinch of whatever you call, be yourself and be true to yourself.
Self-responsibility. Now we are in such a dangerous phase of society where everyone is bitching about rights and nobody is wanting to take the responsibility side of things, especially quote unquote social justice work.
True.
Everyone wants rights today. Everyone thinks they're entitled to rights today. But we all forget we as individuals have a responsibility. Responsibility for our own life and for the lives of others and for the well-being of this planet itself, our mother.
Maybe somewhere I can see the goal here, whatever you started with self-awareness. So it's all leading to that.
The moment we accept self-responsibility, and that's the starting point to self-awareness. When you realize you're responsible for your life and other people's life, that's the starting point to understanding, okay, now that I'm responsible, how can I add value? In the process of figuring out how to add value, so many other dimensions are opening up. Correct. What to add value, where to add, when to add, how to add, who to add, how to. There's so many permutations and combinations that open.
Correct.
And it all starts when it's responsibility. Should I take responsibility for cussing? Yes, I should. There are consequences. But After responsibility, after self-awareness, whatever I do would be justified. So that responsibility is important, because most people today don't take responsibility.
Exactly. Start blaming.
They are playing.
Yeah.
They are playing the blame game, and everyone playing blame on everybody else. End of the day, it's like being redirected in circles. That energy has to be directed somewhere and manifested somehow. So
Correct.
rather to manifest it in yourself and be the change, once you start becoming the change, you will realize how to effectively change the world.
Very well said, Guy. And coming to a hypothetical question, if I had to write a book on you, or if you had to write an autobiography on yourself, what would you title it?
Jil Jil Jigga Jigga.
I was expecting that. Please tell the
With me
people who are
doing
viewing right now as to what is Jil Jil Jigga Jigga. You do have, I think, a Gmail account with that. What is that actually?
So the story behind it is as follows. This was during my BCom days. There was a classmate of ours who used to be in our same friend circle, and he used to always ensure everyone laugh, and if possible, help wherever needed, be little bit of financing or exchanging books or whatnot, copying in exam, whatever it is. However he could, he would help others. And if someone had any friction with him, he would be so jolly and approachable that he would, ensure that they don't misunderstand him, and they would, let it be.
So
Whatever
it's not
happened,
your phrase.
not my phrase.
Okay.
So, and I was only introduced, like most of my classmates came from the same school or from the same plus one, plus two days, but this guy was from a different thing. So eventually I got to know he's an orphan. And that was the phase of my life. In school, I was a very tyrannical leader. I was given the title of a leader, but I was not doing enough justice to it. I was being harsh to people just because I had a title, and nobody liked me. Of course, I mean, some people did like me, but the majority did not like my leadership, and they used to go to people who they like, and they used to listen to them, even if they were not made leaders by the teacher. I was like, I have the title, they should listen to me. That was my phase. And then during my college days, I slowly started thinking, what went wrong? Why weren't kids listening back in my school days? How can I make people listen to me if necessary? How can I inspire people? How can I, and this was the time when I started observing people, and this was one of the guys I observed. And the rapport he was building with people, the kind of energy he brought to the whole environment.
What does it mean, Jil Jil Jigga Jigga? It doesn't mean anything.
He used to just randomly say it to make people smile.
Oh, I understand now. If I had asked you do something like funny with Jil Jil Jigga Jigga, what would you do?
It's not doing something, it's just randomly saying it whenever needed.
Okay, but I'm asking you right now if you can, entertain us, or maybe put a step with the Jil Jil Jigga Jigga thing, or maybe sing something. We've seen the serious side of you, the critical side of you, the softer side of you, the harsh side of you. Now, what about the fun side?
Make a wish. Let's see. Just make a random wish.
Okay, sing a song.
Make a wish.
Make a wish.
Not to me, to God. Imagine I am the messenger of God. Just make a wish. Out loud.
I did. No, not out loud.
Okay. Suppose you made a wish. Right? Let's say, okay, make a wish to have $1 million. Just make a wish.
Okay.
Out random.
I want $1 million. This is my wish. Oh God.
Om Jil Jil Jigga Jigga.
What? What? Oh, my God. Oh my God. That's
Yep,
crazy. Hmm.
indeed. So
Thank
it's
you
good to be
so
close to
much for
someone.
coming in today for Maithreya. Well, I can't.
So just to end it up on a note,
Mm-hmm.
I am not in touch with that guy. Like I was only in contact with him for 3 years during my
Okay.
degree.
Okay. What is his name?
His name is Chiranjeevi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and wasn't a great student,
Mm-hmm.
wasn't intelligent either, but he knew how to like heal people with his charisma,
Mm. Would
and
you
that's
want to
why
be
I
in touch with him?
probably,
Mm-hmm.
probably, if I get
Mm-hmm.
the contact, sure. But yeah, I mean, then I realized, okay, Jil Jil Jigga Jigga, I can just, it is whatever you add the meaning to it.
I
It's
know.
just one of those
Yeah, it's
phrases,
so
you know.
actually it's
So why not
funny
use
and
it? It's funny, and not
yeah,
many people know it.
has
So
an edge to it. Imagine
as an edge,
I have this show as instead of Maitreya, welcome to Jil Jil Jigga Jigga. People will look at me as to am I normal?
why should you be normal? You know,
Exactly. Be weird, be you, stay you on your
see, the
story.
only time good and bad comes into picture is
Mm-hmm.
in a society. Do not hurt other people unintentionally or unnecessarily,
Mm-hmm.
right? Do not cause any harm
Mm-hmm.
unnecessarily.
Mm-hmm.
That's what being good means.
Mm-hmm.
Follow certain rules, respect people's space, respect the government's regulations, whatever it is. You know, respect religious group and what. To a certain extent, have that harmony going in the society.
Mm-hmm.
That is what a responsible good being does.
Mm-hmm.
The bad is when you're selfish and you want to hurt others
True.
for whatever reason. So
Mm-hmm.
objectively, good and bad exists.
Mm-hmm.
So how can we be the best we can be? End of the day, yoga is about. If you ask me, okay, how rich is your life? End of the day, as
Mm-hmm.
far as yoga is like, if you're a yogi, how rich of a life are you living?
True. I
Doesn't
think I
matter if it's
haven't seen
or
anybody else who says this is, own your story thing and living it like how you are living it. So that's
I got that
commendable.
inspiration from Guy Ritchie.
Mm,
For people who don't know Guy Ritchie, he's a really famous author
yeah.
and a screenwriter. Uh, He wrote the script for King Arthur as well.
Mm,
I think he was Madonna's
mm.
husband. He is or he
Ex-husband.
was.
Yes, he was.
So in an interview podcast with Joe Rogan,
Mm-hmm.
he really nailed it across. And
Mm,
again, Guy Ritchie, a materialistic guy talking such rich spiritual
true.
depth, you
Mm,
know. I was like, doesn't
yeah.
make sense.
True.
This is something that's supposed to come from the teachers who are
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be teaching yogic practice,
Mm, true.
but it's not coming from them. I
Mm,
rarely see anyone these days saying those things,
mm.
except for
There
Mahatreya.
are people. There are people who are into proper
Well,
yoga.
apart from Mahatreya and Alan Watts, I
It
haven't seen
depends on
anybody.
whom you resonate with, actually. There are people,
Objectively speaking,
exactly.
objectively speaking, there are
True.
certain things you're supposed to tell people.
Mm,
Objectively speaking,
mm,
not subject.
mm,
Subjectively, you might understand the same concept from someone who you're resonating with,
mm,
different story. But
mm,
objectively, as a branded quote
mm,
unquote guru,
mm.
your responsibility, to make people think,
Mm.
not just leave
Yes.
them with vague answers, not just give them the full deal, maybe, but
Mm-hmm.
at least provoke them to think and
Mm.
open their
Well,
box.
true. Thank you for the amazing, insightful interview today. Well, you didn't really show the fun side of yourself. So, since you didn't, I would want to ask you or order you, instruct you to repeat this tongue twister. Okay? It should be
Repeat
fast.
what?
A tongue twister called,
Tongue
I'm going to
twister.
say, it's called Cycle Rally, Lorry Rally.
Cycle rally, lorry rally.
Do it for at least 5 times.
Done. I did
Well
it so fast,
done.
you didn't understand what I said.
I know. Well done. I'm so happy that I could connect with you again on this platform. Maybe a little more excited for future podcasts and interviews. I wish you all the
100%.
best for all your future endeavors. Keep rocking, keep doing what you're doing, and like you say, be blessed. Blessed to be.
Blessed to be.
Thank you.
Jil Jil Jigga Jigga.
Yes.